don't lose weight fast. If we are not eating the right way, moving the right way, then we're going to wind up on medications for the rest of our life. And so when it comes to weight loss and behavior change and lifestyle change, just do it all gradually. I'm freaking human. I'm not always motivated and always disciplined. What I have is habits. When you have a habit, you don't need to rely on motivation or discipline anymore. It's really important that we don't try to lose weight really fast.
Ever wonder why the fitness strategies that worked in your 30s no longer do the trick? It's time to tailor your health regimen to the needs of your changing body. Welcome back. I'm Jill Collins. In this session, we'll tackle how to kickstart and maintain your fitness routines that make sense for your 50s and beyond with the outstanding Jill Brown. We'll break down the nutritional myths that might be sabotaging your health goals and discuss how to leverage your diet and exercise to boost your metabolism and overall well-being. Whether it's choosing the right exercise to enhance your strength or understanding the impact of your diet on insulin resistance, this video will provide you with practical, actionable advice to thrive in your golden years. Stay tuned as we empower you with knowledge and techniques to enhance your midlife journey. You know what I've noticed with muscle too is it's not so much about how, again, we always talk about this as we get midlife is, yes, we want to keep looking good, but it's literally about being able to have energy and endurance and be able to get up and then to feel like you want to walk and you want to do things. I mean, that energy without muscle, I don't think we underestimate the importance of muscle. Like this is huge. It's not just, oh, so my body's fuller and
I don't underestimate it. It's like my whole
I know
life.
you don't, but I think
I
so
have-
many people do is they just, again, is this like getting on the scale and saying, oh, I weigh this much and my weight hasn't changed in 20 years. Well, I'm not one of that. That's not happening to me. And so they go, oh, I'm great. Everything's fine.
Well, when
And
people weigh the same that they did 20 years ago, I promise you, if they did a DEXA scan then and a DEXA scan now, the scale might say the same, but you have more fat and less muscle, even at the same weight, because you can weigh the same, right? You can take two people who weigh the exact same. One is like all buff and cut, and the other one is just like, whatever, frumpy, and they weigh the same, but one has more muscle, one has more fat.
Okay. And is it true that is it muscle weighs more than fat anyway? So we got to get off the number and not worry about that. Or is it true?
Yeah. So if this is a pound of fat, this is a pound of muscle.
Okay.
So fat takes up more space at the same weight, and muscle takes up less space. So let's say you go on a weight loss program, let's say you're doing my program and you're exercising, so you're building some muscle and you're losing some fat. We're building muscle, losing fat, building muscle, losing fat. You're like, oh, the scale's not changing all that much. I only lost 2 pounds. You go get a DEXA scan and you're like, oh, I have more muscle and less fat overall, but you put on your pants and your pants are fitting better. So if your pants are fitting better, that's a good sign that you have gained muscle and lost fat, even if the scale barely moved.
That's great. And I love that you showed that analogy. That is so huge because usually they always say, okay, well, muscle weighs more than fat, but then it's the density of it. It's actually
the
amount,
size.
the size.
Fat is going to take up this much space. Muscle is going to take up this much space. So when you're losing fat and gaining muscle, you can weigh the same, but your pants fit better. You look better naked, and you look better.
That's awesome. I love your program. Sounds awesome. I can't wait to get into it. It's just going to be great. Yeah. So go ahead. I was going to talk about
something. I teach people all of this. You get lessons. We learn how to make the habits stick. Here's how you know you've made a habit stick. This is what I've been saying on like my lives on TikTok all the time. I say, how do you know you have a habit that's stuck? It's like for somebody who exercises regularly or somebody who eats healthy regularly. You might be someone who does both. You might be someone like, I eat a very healthy diet, but I don't exercise that much. Or I exercise all the time. And this was me, in my 20s and 30s up until 40. I didn't have a great diet, but I exercised a lot. So I had the exercise habit, which I developed in my 20s. I was not always fit and healthy. I lived the opposite lifestyle. I ate nothing but junk food. My mom was diabetic, had high blood pressure and heart disease, and all she fed me was Entenmann's and Pepperidge Farm and Stouffer's and mac and cheese. No food was cooked in my house. I'm the only Jewish person in Queens whose mom and grandmother didn't cook and fed me nothing but junk food. It was eat out every night, pizza, Chinese, takeout, and I had the worst diet. So it took me a long time to break out of the unhealthy eating habit, but I did wind up getting an exercise habit because I had anxiety and depression my whole life, and it was my drug of choice. I was like, oh, I exercise and my depression's gone. Why it's so important in menopause. Menopause are, if you have suffered from anxiety and depression at any time in your life, expect that to be magnified in
Yeah.
menopause.
Oh, yeah.
Magnified.
I'll be
If you have
53 in a few
ADHD,
weeks. We're close in age, and I tell you, that is amazing how you do
it magnifies once you hit
everything
menopause.
magnifies.
Right. So ADHD, OCDs, anxiety and depression magnifies. And so exercise is the most natural way to help mitigate anxiety, depression, ADHD even helps you focus because the blood flow to the brain
Oh, yeah.
helps you focus. So it's really important. But anyway, talking about a habit, I developed the habit because it made my brain feel better. I was less nuts and less depressed and less anxious by exercising. I noticed that fairly young, thank goodness. So talking about habits, you've developed a healthy habit because when you don't do it, you feel weird. So somebody who eats really healthy and you're like, oh, you're on a road trip and there's nothing but Arby's and McDonald's and Wendy's.
Hey, good to see you again. I hope you're enjoying today's episode. And if you are, consider subscribing. We've made some good progress. 93% of you that listen to this podcast regularly have not yet subscribed. If you like this channel, can you do me a quick favor and hit the subscribe button? It helps this channel more than you know. And the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests get. Thank you and enjoy this episode.
You got to pull over and like maybe get a hamburger or something unhealthy and French fries. You're like, oh, I feel awful. People who eat unhealthy, like that feels normal to them. People who eat healthy, they eat fast food and they're like, oh, that doesn't feel right. That's not sitting right. Somebody who exercises all the time, you get laid up in bed, you're sick for a couple of days, and you feel just like off and agitated because you exercise regularly. It's a habit, so you feel off. So I tell people who don't understand, if you don't understand what that feels like, I don't know what it feels like to have exercise as a habit. What does that mean? I don't know what it feels like to have eating healthy as a habit. It feels like going to bed without brushing your teeth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's
You know
true.
that weird feeling?
Something, whatever it is that you normally do every day, and you do something like not drinking coffee. It could be anything, right? This is weird.
It literally feels like not brushing your teeth before going to bed because brushing your
Yeah.
teeth before going to bed is a habit. And you do that and you're like, oh, just something feels weird. I didn't brush my teeth. That's what it feels like when you become someone who's a healthy eater. You're going to feel like you didn't brush your teeth before bed when you eat that McDonald's. If you're somebody who's not a regular exerciser, you're going to feel like you didn't brush your teeth before bed if you missed your
I
regular.
love that.
That's
love
what
that
I teach
'cause
people.
that's really great, the habit, because I think we get to the point where you want it to feel so natural that it doesn't feel like, the I shoulds or I need to or I didn't do it. It's sort of just part of what you do. You brush your teeth when you wake up or you go to bed. It's just like a thing.
Because
For me,
nobody.
I was the opposite of you because, I grew up eating poorly. Like, I love what you were saying, Entenmann's and all that stuff. I mean, we, clearly grew up in the same time frame because that was like, after we got
All my
late.
family fed me.
Oh,
Still
yeah, and
Kraft
yeah,
mac
just
and cheese,
oh gosh, yeah.
Chef Boyardee.
Hey, I mean, potatoes were, and corn, they're vegetables, right? I mean, yeah, everything Midwest, it was like, "Oh, yeah, that's a
Ketchup
vegetable."
is a vegetable.
Carrots, yeah. But
Ketchup.
I
No,
mean,
ketchup was my
ketchup, yeah, for sure. Tomato soup, Campbell's. Um, yeah, I remember that. But then as I got older, I really got into more of the thing. I've never really had effective way to lose weight with exercise. And I learned that I got into Weight Watchers. I was always a little overweight, so I was always trying things. And, but when I learned about my body, and it was really just what worked for me, and like you said, I really am sensitive. Like, I'm not like a picky eater, but I just know what foods to incorporate when I'm eating something that's off. I just know what's going to trigger it and what's going to make me feel bad. And so it's just, to
Yeah.
me, it's like, it's just not worth it. It's like, it's gotten to a point where it's like there's a food you just don't like that you can't stand. It's like I don't even want like something fried or something, that I know is gonna trigger me. And so
Yeah.
it's like it just doesn't, I lost this desire, like a donut. I mean, you know, I
Yeah.
a donut wouldn't even, I mean, I'm like, "Heck no." I mean, you could put 1,000 donuts and I'd be sitting there going like, "All right, whatever." It's like,
You're
I don't.
allowed to have fun. Listen, so when I work with my people in my programs or individually, it's really important that we don't try to lose weight really fast, right? Habits take a while to build. Everybody runs out of motivation and discipline. Everyone says to me, "Oh, I hear this all the time. Well, Jill, you're so motivated. You're so disciplined." I'm like, "What? I'm freaking human. I'm not always motivated and always disciplined. What I have is habits. When you have a habit, you don't need to rely on motivation or discipline anymore. Or you need
Huh.
just like, you need like this amount of, you need this amount of motivation or this amount of discipline. When you don't have a habit, you need a lot of motivation and discipline. Once you have the habit, it's like, oh, I just need like a little boost, a little boost. And that's all you need. Like split second of motivation, split second of discipline. It's all you need to just, like like when you're lighting a stove, just that's it. Okay, now I'm going. But it takes a little while to build a habit. So you have to be patient with yourself. The whole reason why these fast weight loss programs, everyone's done a 21-day challenge, a 30-day challenge, just 90-day challenge, whatever, 75 hard. You've done one of these challenges. Why do you gain all the weight back? Why do you go back to eating the way you ate before or not exercising the way you were doing it on the program? Because you didn't make it a habit. So I work with people in those 8 weeks. It's not about in my 8-week program, in my, my one-on-one, we just stay with me as long as you want or do 12 weeks at a time. We just go for the long haul. But in in the 8-week program, it's to get you started on the habit because it's not about how much weight you can lose in 8 weeks. It's how many habits can we get formed in 8 weeks. Because if you
Mhm.
try to lose weight really quickly, the faster you lose it, the faster it comes back on. Quote, like the
I
keto diet I talked about. The faster you lose it, the faster you regain.
That's so interesting. I've seen that so many times. And,
Oh, yeah.
something that occurs to me that I've coached and taught before is how the importance of identity, and this is part of the habits,
Oh,
thing is when because when I stopped drinking 5 years ago almost now, it was hard at first because it was like, "I'm just not doing it for now. I'm just not doing it for now." I talked about this in other videos that I've done. And then as soon as one day I just said, "You know what? I'm a non-drinker." Dang.
right.
That was just like
That's
super
your
simple. I mean, I
identity.
have enough booze in my house to open a bar, because I've had parties here, I part in but it's just it's like it's there. It could be a vase on the it could be, a vase on the table. And so to me, when I coach people is this idea of I'm an athlete or I'm skinny. I remember when my husband died, I was always a little overweight and I lost a ton of weight because I wasn't eating as much and I just didn't have an appetite and I kept it off. But it was one day I looked in the mirror and I went, "Oh my God, I'm skinny." Now, whether or not that's the right word to use, but it shifted how I saw myself.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this, okay, now I am, you know, this is 8 weeks of I'm gonna do this. And then we always, when we do, like, I know some people have done 75 hard and things like that, where you're like, okay, I'm gonna just buckle down, I'm doing it, but then I'm going back to my thing. Or the people who do the no drinking, or what is it called? The dry January.
Try January.
Yeah. And it's like with the idea that you're gonna someday drink again, which is okay. There's no judgment, but those aren't habits. Those are sprints. Those
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so, yeah, of course, it's not gonna be permanent.
We
But
have to
if
go slow, but I like what you said about identities because the very first day that I work with people in my program, I had them fill out like a little form about your identities, your values, and beliefs. And the reason, the way you create a habit, and the reason why people get so mad at themselves, they fall off their diet. They're like, "I'm an idiot. I suck. I'm terrible at this." And so you do the self-deprecating behavior that got you in
just
that
goes
situation to begin with because the reason why we get so mad at ourselves and why we beat ourselves up and say, "Oh, I'm just gonna go," I call it the Thelma and Louise moment when you just drive off the cliff. You're like, screw everything, drive off the cliff instead of pulling off to the side. You step on the gas, fly off the cliff, and you're just like, I'm gonna eat everything in sight. And I'm just not gonna work out for the next 3 months because your identities don't align with your actions.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
have to align your action. This is the very first lesson I work with. I'm like, how do you identify? What do you value? If you value people who care about health and fitness, if you value people that are interested in nutrition, if you value people or you value humans, it doesn't have to be any human. I don't want to get into like gender, but if you value like your grandmother because she always ate, like natural healthy stuff, if you look up to the person in your office who gets up at 5 a.m. and goes running before they go to work and then they eat the nutritious meal, that's what you value. And your actions and your behaviors are in contradiction to what you value as being something that you should aspire to. You're going to hate yourself. And that's
Yeah,
what
and
gets
there's an internal struggle. It's just and it's really so much suffering in that, is that we don't
so
align
much.
with what our blueprint is that we've set for ourselves.
Yeah.
I
And
always
that's why
reframe as it's like go ahead.
that's why when we fall off hard. We don't just fall off a little bit. That's the Thelma and Louise moment I talk about. We don't just veer off to the side. It's like we're going to have like maybe a dessert here and there. You don't just fall off the side. You go, I'm eating the entire cheesecake.
Yeah, because you decide it's sort of that, well, I'm not then now because, well, I messed that up, so I may as well just live it. And we don't consciously do this. We
No,
subconsciously say, okay, I'm just going to burn it into the ground because I effed it up. And so let's
exactly.
just go for gold. Let's just go, just make it just like, if I'm going to burn it, let's just burn it. And
Exactly.
there's something that happens in us and we trigger. And I think the thing with identity is so important. And you touched on something really good there is who do I look up to? Who do I value? Who do I see? And I teach this thing about the 33% rule. And that's what I love about things like Clubhouse and people like you is that there's that top 33%. And those are the people that are not where we are in that middle where we're always like associating with people and the status quo and the comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's those people that we aspire to want to be like, or that we know that might challenge us and push us a little more. And it's who do we want to emulate? And there's sometimes people who scare us a little bit, people that we
Yeah.
go like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to approach them, but they're the ones that we want to honor. And that's when we start to align. It's okay. If I'm into fitness and I really want to have have habits, how do I surround myself 33% of the time with people that are doing where I want to be?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why when I form close alliances with, of course, my groups and my individuals, and then, they have, so I become part of their circle. And because I become part of the circle, you take on more of the identities of the people that you look up to and that you surround yourself with. So, so we get close. And then I'm one of the people that are birds of a feather that flock together. I'm one of the people that gets that gets into their brainstem and makes them want to be a little bit better, do a little bit better. Because like we talked about in the beginning before you started recording, is that we have to be our own health advocate. And the only things that we have control over in our health, because we don't have control over our genetics, we have control over our epigenetics, and the epigenetics are our lifestyle. And if we are not eating the right way, moving the right way, getting enough stress reduction, getting enough time in bed asleep, we're not doing these big four pillars of health, then we're going to wind up on medications for the rest of our life. So the
Mm.
best way to avoid or be on a low dose, it's very possible that you might be on a low dose. Like I might have to go on a low dose statin because genetically I have slightly high cholesterol, just a little bit. I'm going to get my CAC scan. I'm my own advocate. I told my doctor, call it in. He didn't even recommend it. I'm like, I'm doing it. I told him to call it in for me. So you have to be your own advocate and just be like, all right, so maybe I do need to, take a little cholesterol lowering medication. Don't wait for your doctor to tell you.
Oh God, thank you for saying that. Gosh, that's so
They
good.
because they don't they're because they're like they'll say this, your cholesterol's a little high. Now we'll just watch it. Like, I don't want my cholesterol high for that long. It's been a little high like most of my life. I think now it's time, right? To like do something about not building any more plaque. Let's see if I have any plaque. So
Okay, well, that's good advice because I think sometimes we do, and I hope everyone listening will, you know, pay attention and notice when things are, when you have a question about something, you say, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal." Ask more questions and don't be afraid to get second opinions. Don't be afraid to, look in other ways. I think it's just so key, like you said, is being our own advocate of our health and insisting even that they're going to say, "Oh, it's okay." No, I really need these tests. I really want to get this test done anyway. Can we just go ahead and do that? Thanks.
yeah,
And then
and the doctors say, watch what you eat, lose a little weight. That's all they say. They don't want to make anyone feel bad, so they just say, watch what you eat, lose a little weight. No, that's not helpful. You need to, if you don't know what to do, if you don't know what eating healthier means for you. So eating healthy for one person, eating healthy for somebody who has diabetes might be the keto diet because it is going to lower your blood sugar. But somebody who needs to lose weight and they have high cholesterol, the keto diet's not going to work for you. It's going to make your cholesterol worse. So you need to know like what eating healthier means for you and your blood work.
can we touch on we were put a pin in it, but I'd love to touch on a little bit because we're talking about belly fat and how to reduce it. Is the impact on what you think of intermittent fasting because that's huge right now.
Yeah, I wrote a book, free ebook in my if you ever go to any of my social media,
Yep, we'll put it in there.
you see my link tree. There's a free ebook. There's also my free newsletter. I talk about it all the time. I have a link in my newsletter where you can access my entire archive. I have hundreds of articles that you can search through that are free for all of this. You can try my workouts that are free for all of this, but my newsletters talk about this in my free ebook also. Intermittent fasting, if you want to lose belly fat, you need to do a longer fast. So I'm drinking right from this bottle called Prolon. Prolon is there's a link in my bio, my link tree for this too. The 5-day fasting mimicking diet that absolutely targets belly fat. Will other intermittent fasting target belly fat? No, but doing interval training will. Doing the right workouts will target visceral belly fat and longer fast.
Okay, longer fast, because I know, I did watch the thing about you were talking about the intermittent fasting. You called it the, 5-day what is
The
it called?
5-day fasting mimicking diet is the
Mimicking diet, yeah, prolong.
Yeah,
Okay.
Prolon. So they have a kit that and I get a 15% discount because I have been using them with my clients since they came out 6 years ago. So you get 15% off, and it's a 5-day fasting mimicking diet. That means you're actually eating food, but the food doesn't trigger a nutrient sensing pathway. So as far as your body is concerned, it doesn't know that it's getting any nutrients. You are getting nutrients, but your body doesn't realize it. So you tap into fat stores. And so you lose fat in a very healthy way. It's much healthier than doing an extended water fast. But if you just want to do if you want to practice Yom Kippur once a week and just fast for a day once a week, that's also good. Dr. Michael Mosley wrote a book called The 5-2. He came up with this fast like in 2017 or 2018. He wrote a book about this. He did a documentary on the BBC. You might have heard 5-2. You eat normal for 5 days and fast for 2 days.
Mhm.
There's also the alternate day fasting diet. So these are the reason why these help you lose weight is because if you remember we talked about energy balance and you need to be in a calorie deficit, you need to burn more calories than your body consumes. If you fast for 2 days out of the week, over the course of the week, you're in a calorie deficit for most people. And that's just enough to be gradually losing weight over time. If you do time restricted eating, that's the intermittent fast where I eat for 8 hours a day and I don't eat for 16 hours a day. Forget that study that just came out. That was
Yeah.
completely flawed study. They were not actually studying intermittent fasting. They studied people who in a questionnaire just happened to say they looked at within 1 year, they just filled out 2 forms and they said, yeah, I eat less than 8 hours a day. They are not specifically going for intermittent fasting necessarily. They just so forget about that. That was epidemiological
I
numbers
saw that. I saw that because I intermittent fast like that. I do have a feeding window, and
that
yeah,
means so that means
and
nothing. These are
everybody
not people who are watching their diets. This was just a questionnaire. They just looked at people who just so happen to eat less than 8 hours a day versus people who eat more. So don't forget about it. I wrote quite a long blog in my Instagram about it. You can read mine. You can read a bunch of other a lot of information. Everyone has debunked it. Even the author of the study debunked it. The actual author of the study is Chinese, debunked it, his own study. So forget about the one that you're seeing about now that it increases risk of cardiovascular disease by 91% or 91% increase in risk of cardiovascular disease. That is not true. So if you're doing like 16-8 time restricted eating, it works for some people if in those 8 hours you happen to eat less than you would on another day where you eat for 12 hours. I know people who have done 16-8 and they have not lost a single pound because they eat the same amount of calories in 8 hours as they do in 12 hours. It only works because it causes a reduction in calories. It's not magic. It is caloric deficit. End of story. The only way to lose fat, if you've forgotten everything that I said today, the only way to lose fat is a calorie deficit, period. The only way has been studied time and time and time again, unless your body happens to defy the law of thermodynamics, which no human on planet Earth can do.
Well, I gotta tell you, because this is something that I honestly myself have kind of thrown the whole calorie thing out the window over the years, thinking like, because I was doing things like the plan testing and like finding what kind of foods cause inflammation, and realizing like if I eat nothing but a red pepper, I would say, in a day, and that's all I ate is one red pepper, I would gain weight the next day because it causes inflammation. And then so it's
It
testing
does
these
not.
foods. I I realize it's weight gain because because it's holding, but it's an
Water.
indicator of something that's inflammation that my body doesn't like, and it's so at least that's what I read years
Well,
ago,
don't
and
confuse fat weight with water weight. We are
okay.
interested in losing fat. Who cares about
Yes.
water? We can always change water. I mean,
Mhm.
boxers and bodybuilders do this professionally. as part of their career. You can manipulate water fluctuations. You can't manipulate fat fluctuations.
That's
The
awesome.
only way fat comes off your body, whatever, you wake up one day, you're like 2 pounds lighter. Did you lose 2 pounds of fat in a day? No, you lost 2 pounds of water in a day. There's no
Snap.
possible way. Nobody can lose 2 pounds of fat in a day. Even if you fast for 24 hours, you cannot. You need a reduction of 3,500 calories, a reduction of 3,500 calorie deficit to lose 1 pound of body fat.
So that doesn't. So if someone is at the what did you call it again? What is their calorie
Basal metabolic rate.
basal metabolic rate for the day?
How many calories your body burns a day just laying in bed,
So-
just hanging out today, watching Netflix. That's
Yeah.
how many. The average body burns 1,000 to 1,200 calories a day just laying in bed.
Okay, so basal metabolic rate is, say it's 1,500.
No one's
And-
1,500 unless you're a bodybuilder.
Okay, so it's 2,000.
Let's say no. Basal metabolic rate, that's impossible unless you're obese.
Okay, so what is that? Like, how many calories would the average person burn just kind of in a day?
Laying in bed all day. Basal metabolic rate means you are doing nothing. You're in a coma. That's
Okay.
1,000 to 1,200 calories.
Okay.
So
So-
it could be 900, but let's say 1,000 to 1,200 calories would be an average person.
Okay, so let's just keep it simple. So 1,000. So then if obviously I'm going to add on other things because I'm going to be moving, I'm digesting food and I'm doing these other things. So if I want to lose a pound of fat, there's no way I'm going to lose a pound of fat in a day or
Nope.
even in a few days. Even if I starve myself and eat
If
nothing.
you don't eat for 3 days, you might lose a pound of fat.
Okay.
However,
That's
the
interesting. I mean, and not that that's realistic. We want to do that, but just to give people a perspective on what that really looks like.
yeah, you can do a 3-day fast. People have done it. At that now, if you fat, my boyfriend's about to embark on a 7-day water only fast. He does it for his brain. Because you get into deep state of ketosis, and ketosis feels nice in your brain. It's like, why is Mount Everest there? He just does it to like challenge himself. Anyway, I'm not saying to do it, but after about 3 days, your body's like, oh, this crazy person is starving me. So your metabolism will start to automatically slow down. So now you don't burn 1,000 calories a day anymore. Now you burn 900 calories a day. You go for 4 days. Oh, now I'm going to burn 859 calories a day. So the longer you don't eat for, the slower your metabolism gets. So you
Okay.
cannot fast endlessly unless you know that this is going to happen. And then guess what? Your body goes into starvation mode and it says, oh, I'm not eating anything. Your first 3 days, you're okay. But after that, it's like, well, I guess I'm going to take some muscle and burn off muscle. So now your body actually starts to catabolize, which means burn off, eat its own muscle because it's going to preserve body fat. So if you're somebody who normally eats 2,000 calories a day, you're 180 pounds. And now you're going to be like, I'm going to lose weight like crazy. I'm going to go on a 1,200 calorie a day diet. That's starvation to your body. 1,200 calories a day at somebody who's 180 pounds. So you have to like do it wisely. If you're 180 pounds, you don't want to be on a 1,200 calorie a day diet. Like not everybody can do a 1,200 calorie a day diet. If you don't lose weight at 1,600 calories a day, then yeah, you can go to 1,200 calories a day. But if you normally eat 2,000 calories a day and you're 180 pounds, that's already a low calorie diet. 2,000 calories a day, if you weigh 180 pounds, is already a low calorie diet. So you don't want to go too low. It's really important to know who you are. Everybody's an individual. When I work with my people, even in my group, you're an individual. What's your body weight? Do we get it? Do we have a DEXA scan? Okay, no, yes, no. We're going to just titrate it down a little bit by little bit. If you go into an extreme low calorie diet, your body's like, oh, okay, I'm starving. We're in a famine. Your body is going to be like, well, I only eat 1,200 calories a day. So I better not burn 1,500 calories. I better only burn 1,430 calories. So your basal metabolic rate keeps dropping the more you try to beat it into submission with low calorie.
Whoa. So
Even
that
Mr.
is
Look-
so insightful. That is
Nobody
so insightful.
knows this. And that's why you stop losing weight when you go on a low calorie diet after, depending on how much weight you have to lose. If you're extremely overweight, you'll be able to do that for 4 months. If you only have 20 pounds to lose, you're only gonna be able to do that for a month. And then your body's gonna be like, okay, well, now I'm gonna start taking some muscle. I'm gonna burn off some muscle and I'm gonna slow my basal metabolic rate down because it wants to save body fat. Why? If you have no body fat, you'll die.
Okay.
Be dead. So your body's like, well, I'm in starvation mode. Starvation mode means losing muscle and saving fat.
Okay.
You can
So
do it
that
without muscle. You're in starvation mode. You're not doing anything. You're laying in bed. You're in starvation mode. So your energy drops. So we talked about energy loss as we get older. One reason we lose energy is because we're trying to do these low calorie diets. So we have a low energy. So your body does what it can do to save energy. What does that mean? It makes you tired. It makes you want to sleep more. Other thing that happens is as you're losing muscle, you said how you lose energy when you're not exercising because if you're not losing muscle, you have more energy. If you're building muscle, you have more energy. Why does someone like me have a lot of energy? I didn't even eat today. Why? I was intermittent fasting today. Why do I have a lot of energy? Because I have muscle. What does muscle have? It has something called mitochondria. Every single cell in your body has something called mitochondria. That's the engine of every cell. Muscles have a lot of mitochondria. So the more muscle you have in your body, the more energy you have, because mitochondria is what creates energy in the body. If your body ceases to produce, and so the energy is called ATP, that what's made by your mitochondria. We're getting into bioscience, but if your body runs out of mitochondria, you can't produce ATP. You are dead instantly. You're dead within a minute. That
wow.
is death.
Okay. So this is fascinating. I love the conversation about calories because I think we assume that that was a thing of the past, don't bother with that. It's all about when you eat and not so much that. So carbohydrates are still important, the good carbohydrates. But protein
Doesn't
is
matter. You can eat no carbs. You can eat some carbs. If you are on a zero carb diet, for example, your body can't live without carbs. 20% of the carbohydrates you eat or of a normal diet, your body can only run on carbohydrates. There is nothing that your brain can use other than carbohydrate. So what if you're on a keto diet and you eat absolutely no carbohydrates? What if you're on the crazy carnivore diet and your body eats no carbohydrates? Carbohydrates are so important to your body will just make them. Your body will
Mhm.
convert fat into carbohydrates because you cannot live, your brain cannot function without carbohydrates. It will just make them. And that is when our body goes into ketosis. And that's something called gluconeogenesis. Your brain cannot work without it. So your body will just create carbohydrates, glucose, gluconeogenesis, new glucose. Your body just makes it out of whatever's there. Your body will make
Okay.
it. It'll break down muscle and turn it into glucose. It'll break down fat, turn it into glucose if you're not eating any carbohydrates. So
Well, I can
it doesn't matter what diet you're on. If you're in an excess of calories, your body's going to store them as fat. If you're in a reduction of calories, well, there's no extra calories to store as fat. If you're gaining weight, it is probably water weight.
Okay. Okay, gaining weight is what and that this is just such a fascinating conversation. I'm really this is not exactly how I expected it to go, but I love this thing about calories because I think so many times again we've missed this and we're so on the latest craze and not that it's a craze because I think we're learning and we're getting
Oh,
smart about it, right? About things.
it's a craze because there are these doctors out there, Dr. Robert Lustig, um, Dr. Jason Fung, and then there's one other one. And they talk about it's not calories in, calories out, it's insulin. So they believe in what's called the carbohydrate model, the carbohydrate insulin model of obesity. Carbohydrate insulin model of obesity, meaning if you eat a lot of carbohydrates, you're going to become obese. It's not true. If
That's what
you
I
are,
believed.
huh?
That's what I believed for many years.
Yeah. If you eat too many carbohydrates and too much fat, the only thing that doesn't cause weight gain is protein. So you can always be on a high protein diet and you will lose weight or not, and it'll speed up your metabolism. It helps you lose weight. So high protein diets always proven to help you lose weight. All my clients go on high protein diets. Um, Now, carbohydrates, they store water. So you look like you've gained weight if you're on a high carb diet because you get puffy from the water weight. But people tend to overeat carbohydrates, which raises their insulin levels, like we talked about, and any of those extra calories get stored as fat. So it's from eating, not just if you eat enough carbs, great. All the cells in your body are happy, your muscles are happy, your brain's happy. You eat too many carbohydrates, which are very easy to do in these highly palatable foods that the processed foods, which I lived on, these processed foods are super high in sugar and they raise your insulin levels. Now, if you keep doing that, if you're constantly high in insulin, and you're gaining weight. Now you have leptin resistance, which makes you hungry all the time, and it makes you insulin resistant. So any little extra calorie you have, you don't have enough muscle, you have too much fat, not enough muscle, it's going to be storing all those extra calories as fat. And that's what happens. But they will even say, so this is what they do their marketing on. It's not the calories, it's the insulin. It's not the calories, it's the insulin. But if you talk to them long enough and you interview them, they will be like, well, yes, of course, calories matter because they're doctors and they understand that at the end of the day, it is the calories. They have all said that, but their marketing doesn't say that because they want to sell their books.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
of course.
yeah. Oh, and Gary Tobes, he's the also, if you just go on a keto diet, you'll just, lose weight. Nina Teicholz, another, author. It's the big fat lie she wrote. So they make it sound like that to make you buy their book. But at the end of the day, every single one of them will admit, yes, the calories matter. Why? Famous scientists, Dr. Kevin Hall, follow him. He's hard to follow because he just writes in Science. He's a famous scientist for the NIH. He is a scientist that studies all obesity for the government, And he has studied all of these diets, keto diet, high carb diet, high protein diet, has studied them all. It is just the calories at the end of the day. Oh, he studied intermittent fasting against the high protein diet, against the low carb diet. He's come all of them. If you
Oh,
reduce calories, you lose body fat. End of story.
okay. Well, that's what we've been trying to, that's what we wanted to focus today. So we got that. That's so
We all
important.
know that, but when you're hearing other people, they're trying to sell you something.
Mm, mm. That's just that was so clear, and I'm glad we got that. So as we start to close, and looking ahead, what is how do you see the conversation around health and fitness and aging changing, and what impact do you hope to have on it?
Well, for me, I try to educate people like, even though it's such a bummer, I've just burst a lot of bubbles by people saying, oh, it is about the calories at the end of the day. I have to go back to doing what I did, Weight Watchers and all those crazy diets. No, it's about losing weight wisely. And as we get older, it is harder to lose weight, but it doesn't have to be logging every little thing that you eat. It doesn't need to be counting points on Weight Watchers. It's about just doing it smart. Every single person is their own individual. So what I think we need to have going forward, and this is becoming a slow, gradual trend, the tide is gradually, slowly turning. It is like an act of Congress to make these things happen. But individualized medicine, individualized nutrition, individualized exercise. And that's what it comes down to because everybody's going to lose fat by being in a caloric deficit. But it doesn't mean beating yourself up with a 1,200 calorie a day diet till you want to die and eat a cheesecake tomorrow. It's about just a little bit less. It could just look like when I work with my clients, oh, you don't want to count calories? Fine, let's not count calories. Let's just look at our portion sizes. Can we just look at portions? Okay, let's have a little less rice, a little more veg. So what you would normally spoon onto your plate, just cut a little bit of that off. Oh, your protein looks like this. We're going to make the protein look like this. Have a little more protein. So you don't have to count calories. You can just look at your portion sizes. You don't even want to do that. You can just look at your hand size. I'm going to put a fistful of vegetables on, a fistful of protein on. It doesn't mean if you like numbers, like I have people who are accountants and, business managers, like I like counting calories. It's fun. I do numbers. Numbers are my thing. Great. Get onto MyFitnessPal, count everything out. Fun. Macros. Oh, I want to work on macros. Excellent. Fun. When you follow macros, the whole point of following macros is just to be more full. And when I find the right macro profile for someone, it sounds complicated. It's not. I just find the right macro profile and they feel more full, eliciting what? GLP-1. What's GLP-1? Something people pay $1,000 a month for, semaglutide. GLP-1 is that hormone that makes you feel full. And so reducing calories doesn't mean what it did in the 80s and the 90s. I just tell people we're just going to cut 200 calories out a day. That's going to be a handful of crackers. We're going to replace
Okay.
those crackers with a half an apple.
What about sugar and things like that? Sugar versus artificial sweeteners.
Yeah. So, people have lost weight trading out sugar for artificial sweetener. Don't be afraid of artificial sweetener. You would have to have pounds of artificial sweetener a day to get cancer. Pounds.
Because I
again,
would say I'm the lab rat because I'm the one who has like the 6 packets in my coffee in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it. There's still no research. People are like, oh, but there's all these people saying that artificial sweeteners cause cancer. In rats, when they're giving them like 5 times the amount, not even actually 25 times the amount that you would normally eat, up to 300 times the amount that a normal person would eat is a toxic amount. You'd have to have like 25 diet sodas a day.
Okay.
Not joking. You'd have to have 25 diet sodas a day to be in a dangerous zone. These artificial sweeteners are not that dangerous. Not everybody needs to be doing a 1,200 calorie a day diet. If I have somebody and I look at their labs and I'm like, oh, this person has perfectly good cholesterol, I'm gonna be like, you're gonna eat a little more fat. Guess what? And we're gonna eat the right fat, because we didn't talk about fats, but there's fats and then there's fats and then there's other fats. So there are fats that are very healthy for you that will reverse heart disease. There are fats that will cause heart disease if you have high cholesterol. And then there are ones that might cause inflammation if you don't eat enough of another fat. So I explain all of this to my clients. And so it's complicated to just discuss in 5 minutes, not complicated when we sit down for 30 minutes and discuss it. But if I see somebody and they have really good blood lipid profile, but their blood sugar is a little high, guess what? We're going to increase your fats a little bit and decrease your sugar. You're going to be happy because fats are very satisfying. If I see somebody has very high sugar, very high blood sugar and high cholesterol, then we're just going to work on calories across the board. Because once they start losing weight, as soon as you start losing weight, if you have high cholesterol and high blood sugar and high triglycerides, they're all high, and high blood pressure, once we start exercising more regularly and losing weight, one of those is going to come down. If not, all of those are going to come down. They'll start coming down.
Something just hit me, and we've got to cover this before we finish. Okay, because this is old school stuff, but at the same time is, okay, if we're trying to lose fat, belly fat, I know this is like old school, but I think it's worth mentioning, and we talked about, I know the different kinds of fats, there's avocados are good, and, and healthy oils and all of this, but can you get fat eating fat? I know it's oversimplified.
You can get fat eating any extra calories.
So fat is not a bad thing. Fat's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's calories. It's too many calories. If the calories are coming from sugar, you'll gain weight. If too many calories are coming from avocados, you'll gain weight. Too many calories are coming from the only thing that really doesn't cause weight gain from excess calories is protein, because your body's going to hold on to that protein and be like, we're going to use that to build muscle if, we get her into the gym or we do some weightlifting. So the last thing that causes weight is protein. But it's possible, but it's hard to eat so much protein. It's hard to eat that much protein that you'll gain weight from protein. Okay. Because when you're digesting protein, the good news is digesting protein actually increases your metabolism. You ever get the night sweats from a steak?
Yes.
That's your body increasing calorie burn, because that was a lot of protein. So it's burning off so you're actually burning calories to break down that steak.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, so an increase in
night sweats could actually be because of burning calories.
It's your metabolism increasing from burning protein.
Night sweats. I love it.
So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. The saturated fat in that steak if it's a porterhouse, it might not be a good thing. But if it's a filet mignon, it might be a good thing, because there's different fats and a different amount of fat in those. But protein is the least likely thing. It's hard to overeat protein and cause weight gain from that. But you can gain weight from too many extra calories. And then people can say, well, what about fruit? Should I cut down on fruit? No one ever got fat from eating too many apples.
Okay, I've heard that the distinction, because I was always an anti, no fruit for years. Yeah, not now, but
no one ever got fat eating fruit.
But fruit or the
juice.
Juice.
Yes. Yeah. Don't do juicing. Don't go juicing. That's going to shoot your insulin levels up.
Right. Oh, let's do a juice fast. I'll lose weight.
No, don't do a juice fast. That is persona non grata. That is not allowed in my world. No juice fast. I'd rather you do a water fast than a juice fast. Water fast will not increase your insulin levels. A juice fast will spike your insulin levels. Then when you do decide to eat, guess what? High insulin levels. and
Oh,
more
yeah.
likely to store any extra calories as fat. But it's just not good for it's just not good for your body to keep, shooting those insulin levels up. That is what that is what those doctors talk about with the, forget about calorie counting, just worry about insulin. I mean, there is a little bit of truth to that. You won't gain weight, again, in a calorie deficit. You'll only gain weight if you eat too many calories. And then if you're gaining weight, you might not know, is it fat or is it water? Water weight can fluctuate. You can be 5 pounds heavier one day and 5 pounds later another day, and that's water weight. You cannot gain pounds of fat overnight. You can gain
Okay,
pounds of
that's good to
water
know.
overnight, but you can't gain
Uh,
pounds. So if you binged one day and you woke up tomorrow, you're like, oh shit, I overate yesterday. Unless you moved into the Cheesecake Factory and you ate there from the moment you woke up until the moment you went to bed, you didn't overeat 3,500 calories. You didn't gain a pound of fat overnight.
oh gosh, that's so good. That goes the other way too. That's really good to know. I mean,
And
because
you also
everybody
didn't
goes,
lose a
oh
pound of fat
no.
overnight. That's the
Right.
thing is people like just they think these miracles happen with our bodies. We think, oh my God, now I'm all of a sudden insulin resistant. No, you're not. You've been gradually becoming insulin resistant. Oh, now I have high cholesterol. No, not suddenly. You're gradually, it's all gradual. And so when it comes to weight loss and behavior change and lifestyle change, we just do it all gradually.
Okay. Okay. Well, this has been such an insightful conversation. I got to tell you, I'm so grateful that we got a chance to chat. And we're
Me
going to
too.
put all of the information about your program and everything in the show notes so people can find you. So thank you.
Yeah, and on my link tree, there's all of this stuff. I got freebies, products that I use for like protein, the 5-day fasting mimicking diet. They also have a 1-day fasting protocol where you have like food for the day. So Prolon has a lot of great products. And then, yeah, and then just working with me one-on-one or working with me in a group.
Great. Well, you have some great resources. I mean, it just lots of great content that we can find. So thank you for that. And
Yeah,
thanks for the time today. This has been awesome.
that
So
was. It was so great to meet you in person, sort of.
yeah, you too. You too. Well, yes, other than the audio app for so long that we were on for a while there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank everyone for watching today. Definitely like, share, and subscribe. Please share this with others because this is some good information. And there are women out there that really need to hear this in midlife. And I think it's really important. I'm starting a community soon as well. So stay tuned for that. And we'll be putting information in the show notes on all of the things we talked about today. So I want to thank Jill once again for being here. And I hope everyone just stays connected and live your best life. Take care.